Sports Tonight highlights from all of our Summit League action last night, plus hear from some of the players. Then we preview UND Hockey's weekend series with Omaha. Alex Heinert will tell you everything you need to know about the Fighting Hawks and the Mavs. And finally, our very own Brian Shawn is traveling with NDSU football for the FCS National Championship and brings us an update from down in Frisco. All of that plus much more. Midco Sports Tonight tips off right now. Hello and happy Thursday, everyone. I'm Kelly Stewart, and this is Midco Sports Tonight. Well, we have a great show for you guys today, but we will start with taking a look at the North Dakota high school prep scene. And since we last had our Jody Norstedt on the show, a lot has changed. So here to get us caught up and up to speed himself is the man. So Jody, we will get to the prep scene in a bit, but first we gotta talk football. So what is the buzz like in the community with the FCS championship between NDSU and James Madison just 2 days away?
Boy, I tell you what, Shields up here was just full of bison gear, pretty much all of it just going off the shelves, of course, for the holidays. Of course, it's crazy. As you can imagine, a lot of fans have already made their way down to Frisco. Our buddy Brian Shawn left this morning. I know we'll have a report from him coming up later, but I think the emotions can be best described as nervous excitement almost. Fans are pumped to be going back to Texas, which really became an annual vacation for half a decade, but they're well aware of how good James Madison is. We've heard Chris Kleiman say it over and over again that this is the best team that they've played down in Texas. Now, I know that's coach speak, but I think it's the truth, too. This is going to be a very good football game coming up Saturday at 11 o'clock.
All right, well, we're definitely looking forward to it as well. We'll have more coverage from Frisco, like you said, later in the show. But let's chat about some high school basketball. So what are some of the storylines that have emerged since we last spoke before Christmas?
Well, I'm going to start with Class A boys basketball, where we still have 3 undefeated teams in Davies, West Fargo, and Mandan. Here's a look at the latest poll that came out last night. Davies is on a 29-game regular season win streak. They haven't lost a regular season game since the end of the 2015-16 season. The Eagles have 4 players averaging double figures in the scoring column, led by Brayton Moschenbacher at over 15 per game. As the ball coach says, they're deep.
I think that the difference between this team and past teams that we've had is just that the ability to score the basketball that we haven't had in a couple years. It's not like the 2014 team where we could score like that, but we have multiple kids who can shoot it and put the ball in the hole, and I think that's going to be tough for other teams to defend as the year goes on.
Now, Mandan is another team playing outstanding basketball right now. They went to a holiday tournament in St. Cloud right after Christmas and defeated 2 state-ranked teams in Class 2A, including Melrose, who was undefeated after making the state title game last year. The Braves are just dominating teams in the paint. Trey and Cameron Steckler, along with this guy, Elijah Klein, have reached double figures almost every night. Klein, boy, he is a great-looking 6'6" sophomore. Look at that take to the hoop. Mandan has a great game coming up Tuesday at 5th-ranked Bismarck, which will broadcast live on Midco Sports Network, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let's take a look at the latest Class B poll. Bishop Ryan snagged the first place spot by having more points. Stanley has been ranked number 1 all season and actually received the most first-place votes, but they're second. St. John has been the hard charger. The Woodchucks were ranked 7th in the initial poll. They've climbed all the way up to number 3. Senior Kyler McGillis, this is a good name here, off to an incredible start, averaging 29.6 points per game. He's had a bunch of 30-point games. If you get a chance to watch him, take advantage of it. Now, a familiar name checks in at number 4, the defending champs from Hillsborough Central Valley. Here's a look at some of the highlights from last Friday's win over then 5th-ranked Oak Grove. The Burros have such an advantage. 2 talented bigs, Jack Camroot and Cade Baszler. Boy, those 2 get the job done down low. They're both 6'5". The Burros can shoot well, too. Guy Suture has come on strong in his senior year. I should add, Oak Grove, a heck of a team, too. This is their only loss on the season. Always tough to win in Hillsborough. Andrew Christensen and company playing pretty well, but I'm really impressed with how Hillsborough Central Valley has started after losing some key pieces off last year's championship team. Carson Henningsgaard has filled in pretty well for big brother Kyle and hit some big shots as a sophomore. The Burros led this game by 23 at half. Went on to win 84-68. Head coach Elliot Rothwold was pretty pleased with his team's performance.
We did some things in the first half pretty well defensively. Second half, they made some adjustments, and I thought we didn't adjust real quick to that. But in the end, it came down to getting some defensive stops and taking advantage of our size on the inside, and I thought we did a nice job of that to finish the game. We got a new team this year, just a couple guys played on that state championship team that saw any minutes. So even though we've got a bunch of seniors, we got a bunch of guys that haven't seen a lot of varsity action. So it's really a new experience or inexperienced team for us. So it's nice to see these guys come ready to play, because we had a nice JV last year. They were 19-1, so these guys are finally getting their chance to play, and they're going out there and doing it.
Kelly, the Burros have another big test coming up tomorrow when they travel to 5th-ranked Thompson. The Tommies' only loss this year was in overtime to #1 Bishop Ryan.
All right, well, it's great to see some big-time matchups on the horizon. But how about the girls' side? Because it looks like Century is really asserting itself as the team to beat, Jody.
Yeah, their defense has been superb. Since opening night, only 2 teams have scored over 50 points against them. 6'4" sophomore Lauren Ware is literally and figuratively a big reason for that. But the Patriots have really cranked things up offensively lately, scoring over 80 points in back-to-back games. A couple nights ago, UND commit Lily Kaplan dropped 36 points in a win over Legacy, while Ware added 19 points, 9 boards, and 3 blocks, which is pretty typical for her. So they're the clear-cut #1 in the poll, receiving all 14 first-place votes. St. Mary's has been the surprise team out of this group. They were 13-11 a year ago, but they're getting contributions from everyone. Proved themselves with a big 59-52 win at Shanley around Christmas time. Shanley and Davies are 3-4. Here's a look at some of the highlights from their showdown from last Friday. The Deacons won it 76-72 on Davies' floor, dealing the Eagles their first loss to a North Dakota opponent this season. Shanley sophomore Hadley Huber was on fire. She scored a game-high 30 points. 21 of those came in the first half. Davies trailed by 21 at half, so give them credit for fighting their way back into it. Again, made it a 4-point game to finish. Freshman Riley Waka with a big and one play, but it was all about the superstar sophomores for the visitors. Riley Payne is the other one for the Deacons. She finished with 15 in the victory. The Deacons are in first place of the EDC. Here's a quick glance at Class B girls hoops. Shiloh Christian is at the top. Both the Skyhawks boys and girls teams are ranked in state. Esley Call Montpelier sits at #2 with a 9-0 record. Langdon Edmore Munich rounds out the top 3. Now, before I toss it back to you, Kelly, I want to show you what's going on in the hockey world, too. Let's start out east, where the top 2 teams in the state reside. That's Red River at the top of the team standings with 22 points in the EDC. The Rough Riders also have that shootout win over second-place Central in their back pocket. Mason Salquest and Dave Montgomery lead the way for that potent offensive attack. Central just lost its first game of the season, a 5-1 decision last night against East Grand Forks. Davies still undefeated on the year, too, but how about Grafton Park River? The Spoilers have a very good record and lost to Red River by a final of 7-6, so they're right in the thick of it. I mentioned the strength is in the East, and that's because Central and Red River were able to sweep the top 2 teams in the WDA, Century and Bismarck, over Christmas break in Bismarck. But still, look out for the Demons and Patriots. Bismarck lost by just 1 goal in both of those games, and Century has the top 3 scorers in the state, led by Kirkland Irie, 17 goals and 17 assists. Those top 2 teams play one another tomorrow night with first place on the line in the West. On the girls' side, it's shaping up to be a 3-horse race between Fargo North-South, West Fargo, and Bismarck. That top line for North-South of Grayson and Avery Myers, along with Anna Erickson, has been electric this season. They're 1, 2, 3 in scoring. We'll have more on them coming up next week. Kelly, I know you said you used to be a hockey player, right? Do you think you can still score a goal, maybe in a varsity contest?
I don't know. I can skate pretty well, but no, I'm just kidding. I probably could.
Shooting's not? Oh, you could. Oh,
yeah,
all right.
I probably could.
I couldn't.
Oh, it's fine. All right, great stuff. Thank you so much, Jody. Well, when we come back, Jason Andera is in studio to get you up to speed on all things South Dakota High School basketball. You're watching Midco Sports Tonight.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Avera Orthopedics.